Hey everybody, how's it? Aloha, this is Jeebs here. Yes, with a very long-awaited slow burn session. This is with the band Jinjer, of which I have become enamored with on so many different levels. Not only by her vocals, her capabilities, but the songwriting structure, the musicianship, production, engineering. They got me line, hook, and sinker. But this is the slow burn, which was produced or executive produced by my Patreon members. I want to thank all of you for hanging in there, because I was supposed to do this 3 weeks ago, but then I got sick, you guys remember. And then when I came back, I wanted to do some catch up, and that's when you saw, last week and a half I was doing some other reactions, but today's the day we're on Jinjer. I want to thank all of you so much for your support. Links for the cup of coffee, the headsets. If you want to join me on Patreon and become part of the executive producing team in selecting tracks for the slow burn, you can just go over there, hang out. Even if it's just 1 month. You just go over there for 1 month. You'll still get your hands on at least 2, maybe 3 slow burns as an executive producer, be able to suggest tracks. And I have all kinds of music there that I have not released on the main channel. So let's do this. Our very first track is going to be, the song No Hoard of Value. This is from the 2018 album called Cloud Factory. So here we go, guys. Thank you so much. This is my slow burn session, Jinjer, and the first track is No Hoard of Value. All right. Damn, I love the fact that they started off with the hook on this. Because, I've listened to enough of Jinjer to just be really excited to listen to new tracks, because I know what her capabilities are as a vocalist and what, like I said earlier, the capabilities of the musicians. Now, that opening sounded like it was like an old film or some film noir kind of vibe thing, that they were doing some effects, some sound design, and then they get into the track. Beautiful, beautiful. And I know that's really not a word that you may want to associate with, such heavy music. But beautiful harmonies she has in her hook. Just absolutely mind-numbing. Now we get into the, excuse me, I'm wheezing a little bit. Sorry about that. Old man feels, lungs seize up as we get older. As we get into her hook, where she starts to really just plow down and just really throw down with every bit of visceral power, what I love that they do, this is something that's so stand out for me, is that as they split the guitars off, because in the hook, everything is in unison, the riff and everything was in unison so she can glow. Where she's going off in her verse, how they split the guitar up, and how they have like one part of the riff happening here and answer back crunches and other riff answer backs here. And that is so damn trick. I also love the fact that they went into a double time and then downshifted into regular time. Well, I guess it depends on how you want to look at that. I love that kind of stuff. I love that kind of shifting around with it. You could see me, like, there was a point where, like, it was just, I was consumed by it. I think I was rocking a little bit, but that hook, the fact that they open up with the hook like that really sells me, which doesn't matter. That's just saying. It just sold me right off. And then when it came, because I'm now learning to look at some of the lyrics too. I'm trying not to get too focused on the lyrics, but what a great track. God, I love the dissonance that they put in that last like 16 measures that they were playing after she was done singing. That dissonance that came in and that weird kind of, I don't know, I don't want to say it was an overdub or anything like that. It could have been, but because a lot of times we don't know what's happening with the engineering. If the engineer has options, and depending on how they get the signal out of the amp and whatever else that might be coming into the console, it still could be just two players sounding like there could be an overdub, because then the engineer can kind of pull, mute things in and out, and change the power of, what's going to take precedence, when we're getting hit by something as heavy as the end. I also, the engineering, just speaking about that for a second, the engineering on this thing is just so absolutely so clean and so tight. The tone of the guitar is still something I struggle with, but whenever I do my backing tracks and stuff like that, I'm not a metal person, so I'm not going to, and I'm also too far off in the wind to really try to drill down to get some of those tones. But they are so powerful, but they're just not that oversaturated. And that's what I'm trying to absorb myself too, is these guitar sounds are so gigantic, but in its tone, I don't hear like an oversaturation of the tubes or anything like that. So I don't know if that's done with compression or, I don't know. I'm sure there's a video on YouTube somewhere I can find that to see how, the bands of the last 10 years have gotten the particular guitar sounds they have without just buying like one plugin that already has the sound ready. But you know how that is. That means if one person buys that plugin that has the sound, that means 10,000 songs are going to be written with that sound, so it's not that unique. All right, so the next track that we're going to be doing is going to be, let me see, Bang, 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 bang. Okay, this is from a 2019 album. It's called Macro, and the name of this particular track is called Home Back. So let's do this. All right. God, I didn't want to stop there, but I have to stop somewhere. I promise I'll go back and we'll glide into this like 10 seconds before we get into that. There it is again. The magic of some kind of tone and how they're doing. And I guess they sound like they're really maybe a whole step and a half dropped or something. I'm not too sure. But doesn't this has that really super tight snare drum? Speaking of which, how sick are those ghost notes? And how present are they? That's a sign of just great engineering that's cutting through. Now, once again, the tone of the guitars isn't like I was just saying on the last track. There's not this saturated sound, but it's so powerful. It is just absolutely powerful. But it's got kind of a funk vibe to it a little bit. I don't know if that's the right way to say it. And the messing around with the time is absolutely fantastic. I'd given up months, if not a year ago, trying to call out what the measures are doing because I got it wrong most of the time, or I just got tired of getting smoked in the comments for getting it wrong. So you guys tell me if there's meter changes in there. But the thing is that what I love about what I'm hearing, as much as, because I'm a geek that way, I'm a rhythm geek, as much as I love what I'm hearing, what's even fun is like finding that finding that one, even if it's not present. That's just my game. Finding the one, not necessarily the downbeat, but just at least finding where that tempo is and stuff. Also, and I'm reading these lyrics too, which once again, it is distracting me a little bit from listening, but pretty intense, these lyrics here. There was a phrase here that I loved. Are those fireworks? No, it's military quirk. Is it a mermaid singing? No, it's a siren screaming. Damn. And this is 2019. So, I know from where they come from in the world that it's strife with tension and anxiety and war and conflict, but when you read this, I could just feel that it is a constant presence in their lives, you know what I mean? Because this obviously was written before what's happening right now. So it was just a matter of when the nickel dropped, so it's intense to watch this. And then it says here, why is the party looking so bizarre? A party? No, this is WAR. So yeah, that's intense stuff. Okay, I promised I was going to go back a little bit because what I was just about to get into, I started to just melt. So I want to give it some equal melting time.
Isolated bodies in a boudoir of helplessness. A bullet is an early bird, a midnight owl. Morning greetings over rooster are replaced with fire in a hole, fire in a hole. My dear, do we have to go to sleep like that? With a soothing cocktail and 100 cigarettes.
Jesus, man, that was so powerful. And, you know, having the lyrics up and stuff like that, it does, I have to say, there's no two ways about it. Because, you know, if the lyrics aren't in front of me, you know I can't understand it unless, you know, I know that folks that follow bands and stuff maybe have a different ear and can pull words out when they go into their heavy, hardcore growling and performance, you know, on their tracks. But reading the lyrics and catching it, it is such a great freaking story. And that section that got all glassy and jazzy, number one, for me, I've said this before about bands such as Jinjer, these kinds of musicians that have that background inherently. Somewhere along the line, they're studied and musicians and stuff, and it just seems that maybe somewhere along that journey, they decided to become real pissed off or aggressive jazz musicians. I mean, I don't know how that, you know, happens and stuff like that. But when you hear that kind of a change, you can't help but just absolutely, for me, just, you know, respect the ability not only to make this change, you know, tone it down, clean up the tones and stuff like that, but it sounds authentic. Not like they say, hey, man, let's jazz this up. Do you know any jazz chords? Let's go ahead and make a turnaround. Well, I picked this up from this. It sounds authentic. Excuse me, you know. The bass playing was phenomenal. I love the tone of the bass. Once again, the tone of the guitars is bewildering to me, but sounds fantastic. And I can't imagine it sounding any more saturated than what it is. Once again, I'm an old man noob when it comes to the sounds of tones, but the story here is just mind-numbingly powerful and sad and telling and stuff. So, all right, let's get on to the next track. Let me save this here. Brutality. All right, stand by. Speaking of brutality, really quick, I don't know if you guys know this, but I did an interview on my World Reaction and Review channel with Marty O'Donnell, the composer from Halo. That was badass. If you want, go check that out at some time. I kind of tied that into the word brutality because got it from a video game. Anyhow, excuse me, again. Okay, next song that we have going on here, the name of the song is Ape, and the name of the album is, I think it's Micro. So let's do this. Continuing on our slow burn, this is track number 3 from Jinjer. All right.
Don't begin it all, don't begin it. You never long non-existent.
When the earth wasn't the earth,
When our planet wasn't fireball, it was raining heavily for 1,000 years, and now the fireball became an ocean. The cooking water, the primal soul, the natural life-giving potion.
the substance souls to find a way.
To create another form of miracle. Upon a mirrored atoms and turn them into your flesh, regenerated to return to the chaos. While the young world was caught in itself, no one can notice how you stroke a different path.
Voracious ape who walks upright, who does his right to satisfy his appetite. Don't you remember you were the size of a man? Now what a shame to wear the name of a human being.
Oh, here you are, as a Palestine, kill who calls himself intelligent, but has so much for understanding.
Oh, here you go, Mr. Know-it-all. I made a mistake when I created you long time ago.
The complexity of this track is mind-numbing for me. It gets to a place where, because I'm listening to this with the intentions of wanting to break it down, that I just can't help but think that the fans of Jinjer have an exquisite spicy rhythm palette, because it's not work to listen to this. You can let this flow, but with their musicianship and arrangement capabilities, even though they're playing single notes, it's all riffage-ish kind of stuff. I mean, it's like taking a bass line, of which he's just absolutely destroying, okay? And they're all in unison playing the same thing. But if you were to, like for instance, if you were to take the bass line that he's playing, the guitar players could actually play chords around that in kind of a Joe Pass kind of way. But it is very complex. And I think actually the zip line through it all is her performance that I'm really focusing on. Now this time I'm not reading the lyrics so much because I'm just trying to actually lock myself into the rhythmical energy of this track, but I keep on getting like surprised by what they're going in and out, you know, with their riffs, the note choices and stuff that they're playing, and it's causing commotion. So that's what it is. It's causing commotion in the way I'm listening to it, and then I'm sure that there's probably, this is another one of the songs that are very, this looks like it's kind of, well, it's just like the other two songs, very soulful, very human, very, their version of storytelling, you know, in this case. And the fireball became the ocean, you know, kind of a thing. Kind of have that Gojira, I don't want to say environmental vibe, but anyhow, it's caused, the chaos that it causes is not one that's going beyond me going, oh shit, man, I can't get this. It's just an incredibly intense representation of their ability to write songs and to relay that chaos through their musicianship, deliver this, you know, vocal performance and what she's saying here in her lyrics.
Oh, here you go. Oh, here you go. Oh, here you go.
Well, now amidst the chaos that I had spoken of before, this last part of the listen kind of did settle down a little bit compared to the front side of the song. I just, for me, I just can't get over that unique formula that they put in the track to cause that emotion, that I was feeling personally. The conflict, the complexity. There was nothing simple, but I think it goes perfect along with the lyrics on this. It's not a simple story, there's heaviness in there, and there is no place to glass or to glass out on it and just be. Towards the end, we had a couple of, take a breather. They're throwing down some half notes in the crunches and stuff, but it's just a masterful way of representation with the way they're writing, with definitive purpose. There's so much energy in this on so many different levels. I don't know what more I could say about that track. It was just chaotic, beautifully chaotic. Do you agree with me on that one? Type in there. I agree. I disagree. All right. So what do we have next here? Next, this is track number 4 out of 5. I am going to be doing from, let me see. Yes, my Patreon members said I should do Perennial. And this, once again, comes off of the same album that I did, the last one, which was Micro. All right, guys, track number 4 here on the Slow Burn session here at the Decomposer Lounge. This is Jinjer and Perennial. All right.
This autumn feels like funeral to me, the longest song of grief, and not for what has passed, but for what shall last.
Exhausted nature is so tragic and suicidal. All spectacular tears, ridiculous ourselves. Dead blows are slowly crawling to the toes. Merciless is falling off our head.
I'm here with her. I'm dressed with a few petals on my breast. We shared opiates and let the landscapes do the same. I love your warmth, but yet prefer to live and cold alone. We fixed our eyes up to the sky to see a flight set us farewell.
There you go, doing it again. So as it opens up with that really kind of mellow kind of thing that she's saying, as she's kind of slowly kind of talking about, the autumn feels like a funeral to me. I mean, look, I know this is a metal band, and the energy and the essence of a very high percentage of metal is, emotionally contending with a lot of strife and grief in the world, on whether a personal level and opinion on the global or whatever the case is. So I knew when that came in nice and mellow that I was definitely, that's not the song. That's just something they're just kind of clearing the palette and saying, here's what we got coming at you, and of course they did. I want to just briefly talk about the section where she comes in balls to the wall, or she's just tearing it up with her voice in the front section, but the part where she's singing, we shared opiates, and I think it was. I'm here with her undressed, or somewhere it changed into where she got her clean voice. She has something else that's so fantastic that I dig. It's so uniquely her in the way she does it. She has sometimes every now and then the squeak in her voice. So she'll hit this note, and as she rolls off this note, there's this squeak. And it is so freaking appealing. It's like hitting a harmonic of a string. I'm not a vocal coach. I don't know how she does it. But I just love that. Plus, during that section there is when the drummer was doing kind of more of an anthem style drumming. With tom-toms, we're going with the snare. But just because I'm an old drummer, you know, from way back in the day, what I love is he's holding down the eighth notes with his left foot while that's happening. So you'll hear, but you hear in the background. I just love that little bit of human element in the drumming. Once again, the guitars are tearing it up like usual. I can't say enough about that. I can't say any more about that. I think I can get to that point now where I could just enjoy the music for the body of it and not, you know, so much glow on the musicianship and everything, because I think I've done it already. But that's what I love. This is very intense production dynamics going on here. Not in any song I've ever heard of Jinjer has it been like cut and dry, like, you know, intro, maybe pre-verse, verse, you know, pre-chorus, chorus out, second verse. You know, I've never heard but here's the beauty about this, as I trying to finish what I'm saying. I've never heard that very straightforward songwriting kind of approach. But what I love is they're able to squeeze the amount of arrangements and technicality and everything in there, still keep it as a song under 5 minutes. And that's really difficult because the formula is, you know, hit them a few times with the hook, hit them so they, excuse me, so that they can memorize it. The hook is in the head. But they just have this ability, the way they write and stuff like that, to get these changes in, speak to you on so many different levels with their arrangements, and still be out of it from under 5.
Where we see each other next time, someplace. Come back to celebrate this festival of life.
There is no fly today. You reach the point of no return. Now cry and then die. Tomorrow I will meet you with destruction in the name of total reconstruction. My biggest source of confusion, the reason of decay and disillusion, unto permanent eyes we found breathless paradise. No, we're not dead. No, we're not dead. Just enjoying coma.
Thanks for that exclamation point, guys. I take it that she writes the lyrics. Tatiana writes the lyrics. And they're so powerful. They are so heavy, you know. And I'm glad I'm actually reading the lyrics while I'm doing this. It does pull away a little bit from me when I'm just, you know me, I just love to listen to the music and the depth of production. But this is so powerful, so well written, you know. and you know how I've always called to me as a noob in this whole journey. Only 2 years ago, right? A couple days ago was my 2-year anniversary. I still, as I'm learning and becoming more and more involved in the metal energy, I've always called that darking, growling kind of performance metal slam poetry. You know, because not necessarily all of the growlers have any kind of particular tone to what they're doing. They're just really going for it and killing it. And when I look at these lyrics that she's writing are absolute poetry. Painful but absolutely unreal. Now, that one section, once again, they brought us into that section where they wanted to just kind of like, it's almost like pulling the needle out. If I don't know why I use that as a metaphor, but kind of going like, ah. And God, the drummer and his ghost notes and his performance, his technique, his dynamics is just unreal. But I loved how at that point, for what it was worth during that part of that section of the song, the guitar playing was more giving a space for the bass player to really glow, in the sense that it was kind of an answer question kind of a thing. The guitar was doing boo ba beep, or something like that, and then the bass came in and responded. That is so cool. And once again, sorry guys, just that bass tone. I just would love to be a fly on the wall and watch a session like that get recorded. You know, how they go through different tones. I know bass players have stomp pedals and all kinds of stuff. I just don't know if they do that all in one pass, or if, I don't know, bass players help me with that. You know, when you have certain bass tones that do change up during a song like this, I'm sure that live it's all done with the pedals and you do what you do, but does that happen also in recording? Or sometimes they'll record that in chunks just so they can get the sounds that they want, even though they can play it through upside down with their left hand and then drinking coffee because they're so good. I just don't, I'm trying to wrap my head around it. But all right, guys, this is my last song here for the Jinjer Slow Burn. Briefly, once again, I want to thank everybody from Patreon, all of you that chime in as my executive producers helping me select tracks. I want to thank all of you for still hanging out here on this channel. Somehow, some way, people still decide to click on it and want to hang out with me on a journey, whether you're at work or driving home from work or just whatever it is. It's winter time right now, so maybe you're just stuck inside because it's too cold outside. I don't know. But I really do appreciate you guys hanging out. I'm very grateful. And even if the support doesn't come with a cup of coffee or something, you know, leave the comments and your thoughts. Sharing the video too is just as super cool. And so let's do this last track. So the last track that I have here, excuse me, is coming from, very, very recent. Their 2021 album. God, I can't, Wallflower. Sorry, I'm reading it off of Spotify to get the little itty bitty names of the albums there. And this last track that my Patreon member said you must to listen to this is called Mediator. You guys, thank you so much. Here we go. This is Jinjer, track number 5 on the Slow Burn, Mediator. All right.
Go!
Birds
Jeez. What a way to end this slow burn. That opening blast, you see, that's called a blast beat. You see, I'm learning, right? Tick, 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 was just so insane. But what really caught me, like right from the very beginning, was the power of that bass tone. Now, you know, I try to give equal love to all musicians because they all deserve equal love, and we all know that I always like to lean into the bass a little more, and it's not because, oh, I feel sorry for the bass players, they don't get enough love. No, it's because to me they are one of the most powerful parts of any band. But yeah, sometimes they don't get the love that they deserve. But in this case, why I'm such a fanatic in the sense of what heavy metal has taught me about bass is so many different crazy tones. And the throatiness and the balls of that opening tone, and the fact that in this mix, they're probably only, so let's say the guitars, which are, for what it's worth, they are the power part of metal bands, and they're going to be shoved in your face. A lot of times basses are, because bass in general, 90% of the time, is mono. So it's going to be shoved here with the kick drum, the snare, vocals, all gets this. But with this track, that thickness and that width of the bass, and they've got it shoved up to what I call a 70% level out to the guitars. So it is as ballsy and in your face as the guitars are almost. And you know, I've watched the videos, I've seen interviews on these guys. Their musicianship and their ability is unquestionable or unquestioned. But in my mind, when I'm thinking that the bass player is completely in step in unison, but then breaks away in certain parts of the passage, carries his own life through it, but in the same rhythmic arrangement as the guitars. So instead of doing everything in unison, but they're going, he's doing the same thing, but then he breaks away rhythmic arrangement-wise and pulls it and gives that dissonance in there. So anyhow, once again, she's got some cranking vocals here and lyrics, but I'm sorry, I just went blah, blah, blah over the bass.
All around us, and all we feel is cold.
There was no better way to end this slow burn session with a track as powerful as that. It's just absolutely sick. The one thing about this particular track, obviously this once again is coming from such a heavy place lyrically, man. There's this one lyric here. What is it that I just went, oh shit, what is it? I want a neighbor, not a hater, and a head to go around, and a head to go around from white snow, but what to do now? I mean, once again, it comes from a place of heaviness that I can't even begin to imagine. I really can't begin to imagine, and I cannot, think of a better way to express everything than through music. That's what music does, and those who get the opportunity to write it, and as powerful as a band as Jinjer, can say the things in music and in words that other people may viscerally feel in the part of their spiritual being. They don't know how to write like this. They're not lyrical like this. But, this kind of writing and what's so powerful about this kind of music, it's like the gatekeeper to other people's way of expressing things, to commiserate. Yeah, I feel the same way. I just don't know how to say it. And then, of course, escorted by incredible musicianship and production in the style of heavy metal as well. I mean, I think that's for me truly when people like, oh, what is this old man in the metal trip that he's on and everything? It does unlock anger from me, like when I listen to these lyrics but it does something. It unlocks some of it. You know what I mean? It just sets it free. And that's the medicine for me when it comes to, I get an opportunity to read lyrics like this. But anyhow, look, I went on way too much longer. All of a sudden, I'm getting all kind of weirded out now. Oh, shit. The older I get, the better I was. Listen, thank you all so much for hanging out. What? Wait, what? If you're still here, what? Type in the comments, I'm still here. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for everything. Thank you for hanging out for those of you who've been around for 2 years. I still wake up in the morning and I go, let's do a new song today. Let's do this. And as long as I'm doing that, I'm going to be here having coffee with you or whatever it is. And also don't forget to check out, if you are a Halo, or a video gamer, that interview I did with Marty O'Donnell. And we talked a little bit about the Mick Gordon issue with Doom Eternal also on that video. And that's on my World Music Reaction Review channel. All right, guys, listen. Take care of yourself. See you later. All right.